right. How exciting. Okay, so in case you don't know what you have hopped onto, you're welcome. This is going to be awesome. So we are Team Oily Hippies. We are a group of women and men who love essential oils. And there's a group of about 10 of our leaders who have dedicated to get together every single month to provide all of you with an amazing educational opportunity to hop on a webinar and learn more about using your oils. So I want to just reiterate every single time how much we appreciate and thank all of you for being willing to teach us all about all of these various topics. And tonight, I'm thinking myself, I'm going to teach you guys about essential oils and intimacy. Maybe you've heard of this called essential oils in the bedroom, essential oils for sex, a lot of different names. So to get us started, we're actually going to watch a little video clip because I need to prime you guys and get you ready. Because if you are someone who like blushes or gets a little nervous, tonight is really going to draw you out of your comfort zone. And if you're like me, and if you're like in a group of women and you're sitting in the corner giggling, well, I'm glad I have you on mute. But I'm not on mute, which probably means that I will giggle. But I have to tell you, in our house, I'm a doctor, my husband's a doctor, our children say penis and vagina, and words like that are really normal. But sometimes you get into a few words that are maybe a little bit past your comfort zone of saying, and we're going to be saying them tonight. So I am going to screen share here, and I hope that all of you can see the video that I'm about to play for you because it's going to be fun. So, all right. Can all of you see my screen? Can you see my screen here? You got it. Thumbs up. Here we go.
Mr. Moxon, here to share with us?
The malrection, pitching a tent, sporting wood, bicycles formed, marches on.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Stiffy, Mr. Mortis. Rigor mortis is set in. Flesh rocket, Jack's Magic Beanstalk, Tall Tommy, Mushroom on a Stick, Mr. Mushroom Head, Purple-Headed Yogurt Slinger, and Pedro.
Pedro?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was fun. All right, so we're going to pause this because I don't know what's about to come up next. There we go. That seemed like that was going to go into a weird direction if we followed that clip with another one that they just automatically played for us. So hopefully you guys get the point. We are going to be talking about a lot of things. Now, I'm not going to use slang like you did in that clip, but we're going to be talking about a lot of things tonight that may make you feel a little uncomfortable. But the reality is that problems with intimacy, problems with pleasure, problems in the bedroom are very, very, very common. And if we're not willing to talk about them because they're uncomfortable, then we are basically taking the opportunity to help someone improve in a very important part of their life. And we're taking that away from them because we feel uncomfortable. So we're not going to do that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to have fun talking about it. Hopefully after we're done here, some of you will be like, well, let's go try it out and see what happens. So, and then if you feel really super comfortable, you can come back to our group and tell us how things went for you. So you may not feel comfortable with that, but if you do feel comfortable with that, yay, go for it. So what we are going to do is we are going to screen share here so you can all see my PowerPoint. So we're going to get our PowerPoint on here. Bear with me for half a moment. And there we go. Great. Awesome. So basically, we're going to be talking tonight about essential oils and how to enhance intimacy, pleasure, and connectedness. And this is not only with your partner, but with yourself. And we're going to talk about a few things as we start here as to what are some of our obstacles to pleasure or intimacy. So this is important. It's important to understand this. Perhaps you're the person who could really benefit from learning how to overcome your obstacles to pleasure or intimacy, or perhaps you know someone. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's just someone important in your life, but helping helping someone get over the obstacles to pleasure first happens by identifying what they are. So oftentimes people think I don't deserve to have pleasure, right? So I have to do X, Y, or Z first. What a mom thing to say, right? Moms are always saying that. Oh, I've got to do the laundry first. I got to do the dishes first. I got to take care of my kids first, right? Or man, this is just too good to be true. Sometimes people think people who are in certain religious sects will say like, oh, well, it's too good. Like it feels too good. So it's got to be bad, right? So, and then if everyone is suffering, who am I to be happy? Sometimes people have that mindset too. That might not just be sexual pleasure. That might be pleasure in general. So those are the I don't deserve to have pleasure. Sometimes it's a priority issue. So you don't have enough time. You've got too many things to do. It's not really that important to you. I feel that this right here is a very common obstacle to pleasure for women. Women do not prioritize sex or pleasure or intimacy. And so these are oftentimes become the things that they talk about being an obstacle to their pleasure. And then they're just out of touch with their pleasure center. So sometimes this can be the primary issue that then starts to overflow into these other areas of their emotions are pushed really far down. And so they're not able to tap into pleasure or sexual pleasure. They're unable to feel pleasure. So maybe physically they cannot feel pleasure, or they have trouble letting go of control. And sometimes those things can be very deeply rooted in a lot of deeper kind of layers and wounds, but just being out of touch or being unable to experience pleasure is another obstacle to pleasure in and of itself. So why is pleasure even important? So we think of it as just like being kind of nice, right? Oh, to experience sexual pleasure. Oh, that's just nice. Or just pleasure in general. Right now we can be talking about anything. We're just going to kind of segue into the sexual aspect of it. But physical pleasure supports your immune system. It reverses aging, improves your digestive function, balances your hormone levels, lowers your stress levels, supports connections of neurotransmitters in the brain, lifts your mood, builds connections, love, and community, and increases circulation in your body. So what we can say without a shadow of a doubt is that pleasure has so many positive physical benefits to our body, and therefore it's in something that is important to seek. Even if we don't desire to seek it, just knowing what it does for our body, going in that direction towards seeking it because we know it's so good for us, and we know that what will follow is you will want to have more pleasure as you experience it more often. So these are some of the reasons why having pleasure is so important. So tips for sexy time. So here are some really important tips, and I'm going to add one or two into this, but always remember to dilute when you're using topically. Otherwise, you may be experiencing a tingling that may distract you from the activities at hand. Pun intended. Essential oils that are aphrodisiacs are things like amyris, clary sage, jasmine, neroli, patchouli, rose, rosewood, sandalwood, vetiver, and ylang ylang. These are all aphrodisiacs. So that idea of an aphrodisiac is it just gets you in the mood, right? Anxiety, things that are going to help with maybe the anxiety of sex or sexual intimacy. Bergamot, Roman chamomile, clary sage, cypress, frankincense, geranium, juniper, lavender, mandarin, marjoram, melissa, neroli, petitgrain, rose, and ylang ylang. So we already see our clary sage, our neroli, our ylang ylang, our rose, all of those are going to be very tied in to pleasure centers, sexuality, the feelings of sexiness, things like that. Nervous exhaustion, things like basil, once again, clary sage, clove, geranium, grapefruit, mandarin, rosemary, tea tree, thyme, and ylang ylang. Restlessness, bergamot, Roman chamomile, mandarin, marjoram, valerian, vetiver, ylang ylang. And then sexual insecurity is clary sage, jasmine, rose, and ylang ylang. So if you're like, what are 3 oils that I have got to have in my toolbox for sexual intimacy and pleasure, I would tell you clary sage, rose, and ylang ylang. Now, personally, I love neroli, so I would tell you to put it in that toolbox as well. But those three that I first mentioned are going to be the best ones. So another thing that I'm going to mention that I don't think I mentioned anywhere else throughout this is that depending on where you're at in your life, what you and your partner have decided upon, there are various different ways to have birth control or safe sex or all those types of things. And if you are in a monogamous relationship with someone, you may not be someone who uses condoms. So this may not be applicable to you. But if you are not in a monogamous relationship, or you and your significant other have chosen to use condoms as a birth control method, you should not be using any essential oils or fractionated coconut oil when you're using condoms. Condoms need to be used with a water-based lubricant. If they are used with anything else, the chance of them rupturing, tearing, breaking, anything like that, just not being effective, goes up very high. So if you are doing any of these things and you and your significant other are condom users, maybe use them for foreplay, but make sure that you're not using them when you're using your condom, and make sure that you've sufficiently cleaned any areas free of any of the oils or any of the fractionated coconut oil, or else, once again, it still could lead to your condom breaking. So for some, that doesn't mean anything, but for others, that may be important. All right. I have no idea if y'all can see those little lines on my screen like I can. I don't know why they're there. So, okay. So let's talk about the Bae blend. What does that mean? So that's Beyonce flipping her hair. Oftentimes, whether people love or hate Beyonce, what they recognize about her is that woman has confidence. She has confidence, and confidence is so sexy. And when I say sexy, I mean like, it's sexy for men to see confidence in a woman. And when other women see confidence in another woman, they find that sexy as well, meaning that they are attracted to it and they want to be near, close to, in some form of friendship or relationship with that person. So confidence is so sexy. So one of the things we have to do is learn how to have more confidence. Confidence in your true self is, like they say here, hotness times a million. So being confident with who you truly are. So these are some really great oils for using to build your confidence. Balance, which is going to be rooted in your being. Put that on the bottom of your feet. Now, hopefully all of you are already putting balance on the bottom of your feet before you go to bed and in the morning. So that right there is a great way to be continuously building your confidence, is through putting balance on. Cassia is drive. Put that on your lower abs. Think of that as your activation center. What we know is that anytime you're trying to drive confidence, that what kind of like a coach or someone is going to tell you is kind of dig deep into your lower abdomen, place your arms on your lower abdomen, sit up straight, and that's where you're getting your power from. As a woman, that's where your power comes from. Lower abs. So cassia on your lower abs. Bergamot, which is for worthiness, is going to be on your upper abs. Geranium, which is for trust, is going to be on the center of your chest, like right over your heart, basically, or not really your heart, over your sternum. And then spearmint, which is confidence of speech, you can put on your throat. So this, it's called a Bae blend, but this isn't really blend. It's just kind of saying all of these oils working together on different parts of your body are going to blend together to give you a lot of confidence. Next is steps to ultimate pleasure. So in the bath, you're going to use 5 drops of lavender, 5 drops of balance, and 5 drops of Lang Lang. Now, here is what I would suggest. I do not suggest you just putting these straight into the bath. So in your own head or at home, you can audibly answer me, although I won't hear you. What is the reason why you are not going to just put these oils straight into your bath? Oil and water do not mix. So what will happen is if you just put these straight into your bath, they're going to lay on the surface of your bath and either cause discomfort, maybe a skin irritation, or they're just not going to be as efficient or as effective. So here's a tip. You can go and get Epsom salts from your local drugstore, Rite Aid, anywhere, CVS, any place, Walmart, you can go and get your Epsom salts, and you can actually put these oils blended into a small like baby food jar worth of Epsom salts, and you can actually just take that and put a scoop of Epsom salts into your bath whenever you're getting in and trying to just kind of prepare yourself, prepare your heart, your energy for pleasure. And then pre-pleasure massage points, AromaTouch. AromaTouch is great for balancing your body, including your hormone system, which is a high driver of pleasure, and fractionated coconut oil. The AromaTouch is really great. And then Lang Lang and cedarwood, calming and connectedness, and fractionated coconut oil. So this is a pre-pleasure massage. So it's going to just be something where your spouse is massaging your shoulders, or your partner's shoulders, your arms, your feet. And these are some really great oils to include when you're doing that pre-pleasure massage. I like to call this your pull it together. Pull it together, y'all. Clary-Calm on your wrists, on your lower abdomen, grapefruit internally, and phytoestrogen capsules twice a day. So this is in relation to that hormone out of control feelings of I have no control over my body or my emotions, right? Women, we are we're very emotion driven beings. And so if we feel out of control in our emotions, we oftentimes don't feel the freedom to let go. So this is how we are going to gain control over our emotions and feel like we're pulled together, is using these oils. It's going to help really essentially to balance your hormones and get your body in a healthy state so that you are really able to start feeling more confident, more calm, more centered, more grounded. So you pull it together, y'all. Heal yourself. So one of the things that we talked about in an obstacle to pleasure was that feeling like you're not worthy, feeling like you just don't deserve this. These are some of those deep-rooted kind of issues that you sometimes need to work through, and healing needs to take place. So on your lower abdomen, you're going to use Citrus Bliss. This naturally balances the sacral chakra. If you're not really someone who feels comfortable with that, the talk about energy or more of that new age verbiage, that's okay. Think of that as really where we talked about when you're feeling confident, you're told to sit up, feel the power in the lower part of your abdomen. Think of it like that. This is a place where you're going to gain your confidence and your creativity, relaxation, and your sexuality, very highly tied to where your reproductive organs, your hormone centers are. It's just very important. Lang Lang is really good for vulnerability and openness. We also know it's an aphrodisiac, has a lot of positive benefits. Cinnamon is the oil of sexual harmony, which, knowing cinnamon and all of the amazing ways that you can use it in all of these pleasure blends, that to me is no surprise, and console to help with trauma. So using these, mix those with fractionated coconut oil and give yourself a belly rub. Using these together to help healing, emotional healing, is a really fantastic thing to do. And hopefully as you start to use them more often, more frequently, and more consistently, what you're going to notice is that you feel some real emotional healing that starts to take place. You can either do this as, like we said, a topical belly rub, or you could use it as a diffuser blend. And it could be something that as you're sitting at your desk throughout the day, or as you're watching a show at night, or whatever it is, you have this going in your diffuser, and it's just helping with that emotional healing that you may feel needs to take place in order to open up and feel more vulnerable sexually. So, libido. Let's get it up. Let's get up that libido, everyone. For women, this is a common complaint that they have low libido. And for men, it is a common complaint that their wife has low libido. So we want to figure out how to get your libido up. So loss of libido can have many causes. Some are physical, like your thyroid, medications that you might be taking, or your testosterone levels. And some causes are mental or emotional, like stress, issues within a relationship, fatigue, and depression. So there are a lot of different aspects to libido and having to work on increasing it. So we don't want to oversimplify it, but for the purposes of this specific time and our time together, what we do want to tell you is there is a lot of reasons why your libido could be suffering. But we're going to talk about some of the ones that we know that the oils can have a big impact on, and the ones that are really the most common. So interessential oils, our sense of smell has a powerful link to the limbic system, which is like your memory system, which is associated with memory, emotions, learning, influences, and influences your hormone balances. So aroma and transdermal use of essential oils can arouse the senses, create a more pleasant environment, and increase desire. So when we're talking about libido, basically what they're saying is using on your skin or topically or using aromatically can really have an impact on your senses, which we know your sense of smell is tied to your limbic system, which can then really impact memories, emotions, learning, and your hormones. So that's a big important thing to remember. Libido oils. So there are many oils that can help with libido. Just being in good health is a great start. Here are some powerful libido oils to consider. Black pepper. Add some spice to your scents and improve circulation by adding to the blends. Jasmine. Add to massage oils to enhance behavioral arousal. Lang Lang. Add to blends for increased sexual energy. And sandalwood. Add to bath salts for intimacy and sexual response. People have used essential oils to increase sensuality and libido for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians created sensual images describing scents in the context of sexuality. So starting with these oils can be very powerful for increasing your libido. So these are a great place to start. And the really great thing is that honestly, you probably could take all 4 of these oils. I was going to say jasmine, lang lang, and sandalwood, but you probably could take all 4 of them and combine them and make a really, really good smelling perfume. Or if you did the black pepper and the sandalwood with a small amount of lang lang, you probably could make a really great smelling cologne for men. So wearing these throughout the day will not only increase the libido of the person who's wearing them, but their partner smelling them throughout the day will have a kick up in their libido by smelling their partner if they're wearing these as a cologne or as a perfume. So turn it on. So how are we going to turn it on? 10 drops of lang lang for your healthy libido and your endocrine function. 10 drops of cypress to help increase circulation. 5 drops of lavender aids with full expression of pleasure. Fill the rest with carrier oil and apply to the inner thigh. Now, obviously, if we really want to help turn it on, you would get your partner to apply this to your inner thigh. That would make it even more. So more exciting, pleasurable, sensual, all those types of things. So taking this blend, lang lang, cypress, lavender, filling it with carrier oil, and then applying to the inner thigh. This is going to be how you start to kick up that sensuality. For him, 2 teaspoons of aloe vera gel, 1 teaspoon of grapeseed oil, 1/8 teaspoon soy lectin, 1/2 teaspoon vegetable glycerin, 1/2 teaspoon vitamin E, 5 drops clary sage, 3 drops peppermint, 3 drops cypress, 2 drops lime. And yes, this is applied to the penis. So, sorry guys, our first iffy word. So this is going to be a good blend of oils for not only libido, but also if a man is having struggles with erectile dysfunction or impotency, this is going to be good for him as well. So this is a very good blend, and it can be applied without any real, with the amount of carrier oils you're using with this, you're not going to have a real issue with that peppermint being too invigorating, which yes, that can be an issue, guys. Oils like peppermint and cinnamon and cassia and oils that have a heat or a cool to them, if you're using them and you're doing any kind of massage or oral stimulation or manual stimulation with these oils, if you do not have enough carrier oil, they can actually not have the opposite effect, but can become so overwhelming that you really can't even find them pleasurable. So make sure, like this recipe is telling us to do, you're using a lot of carrier oils when you are when you are working with those hotter or more chili oils. Okay. And yes. Yeah. So Deb said, I was wondering about the peppermint and possible discomfort that may be associated with its application. So that's why we're using so many carriers in this one to help. Well, it's not why, but it's why there's less peppermint. It's good to have so many carriers, but you're always going to want to be very overcautious at first and then add more. But really the purpose of the peppermint in this specific blend, why it's in there, is for that invigorating. So if what we're trying to do is create stimulation or arousal when it is an issue to begin with, or a place where we're not really getting a lot of stimulation or arousal, the peppermint is going to do that. So that is going to be helpful. We want to have it in there. Uh-oh. We moving forward? Maybe? Okay. As we all know, lubrication is essential. Now remember, with both the last blend and this one, we are not using this lubrication with condoms. This is condom-free zone. Just can't do it. So if you are using this with someone that for whatever X, Y, or Z reason you use condoms as your form of birth control or just protection, don't use this. But if not, have fun. 3 tablespoons of solid coconut oil mixed with 10 drops of Melaleuca. Great to keep things clean. Now that is important, isn't it? Nice, good antibacterial, antifungal. It's great. 10 drops Lang Lang for libido. 10 drops lavender for soothing. 5 drops clary sage for libido. And 3 drops of black pepper for circulation. So this is a great a great blend for lubrication. So if that is something that you would feel confident and were able to make on your own, this is going to be a great recipe. So here's a few more fun recipes. Handy town over there for those of us on the call who are enjoy manual stimulation of any sort. Use this oil to massage your partner's chest, shoulders, and move the hand south for your partner's equator. 1 drop cinnamon with 1 tablespoon fractionated coconut oil. And all night long for the birds and the bees. For him, rosemary and sandalwood beneath the testicles, and for her, geranium on the clitoris. It's recommended to be taking LLV vitamins and Mito2 Max to give stamina for all of those wild positions. Now, according to the testimonials that I read about this all night long for him and for her, you're going to have, for him, what you're going to have is greater stamina, greater ability to hold an erection for a longer period of time, and increased orgasm. And for her, the geranium is going to be a huge climax booster. I think someone is writing on my, it's okay, I don't care. So there you go. So that's what we're looking at as far as some good tips and tricks for using essential oils for intimacy, pleasure in the bedroom. So that, one of the things that I had said is that you may find that tonight was going to be a little bit shorter just because the amount of time to go over the material doesn't take as long, because there's just, there's some really important nuts and bolts and pieces, but there's just not 1,000 different things. So what I want to do now is I want to open up the ability for anybody to ask questions, or if you feel comfortable, if you have a specific question, comment, concern, or you found something that just is amazing, or whatever it might be, I'd love to encourage you to find this to be a safe space where you can open up and ask questions, make comments, whatever it might be. So what you will have to do is, if you are wanting to verbally ask a question or make a comment, you're going to have to unmute yourself. So if anybody wants to make any comments or ask any questions, please do so. Anyone? Yes.
I'm embarrassed, excuse me. The question is on the blend for him.
Yes.
Is that blend safe for oral sex?
Yes. Yeah. So, let me go. Oh, you can't necessarily here. Let me screen share again. So what Linda's talking about is, come on now. Let me get out of there. Go back to here. Let me screen share again. Da, 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 da. Boop. There we go. Okay, so what Linda's talking about is this specific blend, the For Him, and the whoop. Yep. So the short answer is yes. There is nothing in this blend that is not going to be safe for oral sex. Now, you also need to keep in mind, and that's a really good question, because oftentimes when we're dealing with lubrications or different kind of like massage oils or edible oils or any of that kind of stuff that you can buy through a store or online or something like that, a lot of times they're full of a lot of like junk and preservative and crap and just stuff like that. And if we're talking about something like a lubrication or massage oil, one of the things that this is not necessarily pertaining to sexuality or sex, but it does carry over into what you're asking or what we're talking about, is that if you're putting something on your body, you should be able to also put it in your mouth. You should be able to eat it if it's safe, right? So why would we put something on our body if we're not willing to eat it? And so that's one of the beauties of our oils in general, is that really it's all safe to ingest, which is why it's so amazing we have these oils. And so when we're looking at something like this, yes, all of the parts of this particular recipe are safe for internal, for oral sex. Yeah, yep. That was a long answer to your short question. Any other questions? Oh, we got a one on live chat. Let's see here.
Hello.
Oh, yes, go ahead and ask, and then I'll tell Casey. Go ahead.
Just a real quick one. We're talking about the Claricom, because boy, that is a great libido booster. One way that is great for is just 1 drop sublingual under the tongue, and a few minutes, it's like, yeah, let's go to town.
Hey, that's great to know.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just take the roller ball and you pop off the ball and then just do a drop under your tongue?
You know what? Actually, I was thinking not the Claricom, but the Clary Sage. I'm sorry.
Sage. Okay.
Clary Sage, yeah, from the 15 ml.
Yeah. Okay.
Drop one under the tongue. There was a reason why I was using it, and I can't remember why, but I noticed that it just shot up the libido, and it just like blew my mind. So
great. That's awesome. Thank you. So Casey asked, the geranium for the woman, that is diluted, correct, along with the rosemary and sandalwood. Yes. So that is going to be diluted. I would tell you that there doesn't need to be a like solid or firm. It has to be this amount of dilution. I usually just tell you if it's not something that is a skin sensitivity oil, I would tell you like a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of fractionated coconut oil to a drop of geranium. Just so you don't, the oils being, they're, for lack of a better word, if you just put them on your skin, they don't go anywhere, right? So the carrier oil is just going to help get them on your body more, dispense them more, disperse them more. And so you don't need a lot of carrier oil. You just need enough to basically cover the area that you are trying to affect. So you do not need a lot for that, specifically for the women. Obviously, it's a small part on our body. And then for the men, definitely no more than a teaspoon is necessary for that either, for the rosemary and sandalwood. Good question. Any other questions or comments? I love that tip. Clary Sage under the tongue. Woo! We all gonna try that tonight, aren't we? So, well, I definitely, I think that this is an important topic that a lot of people don't really want to talk about because it's a little embarrassing. There's a lot of shame that is put around sex and sexuality, around libido. Women often, now sometimes these roles are reversed, but oftentimes women feel like we're inadequate if we don't have a strong libido. We feel like we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing for our husbands. We feel like we're not providing as a good partner, all those types of things. And so there's a lot of shame. And then on the men's side, there's a lot of, I wish my wife wanted me more. I wish that she wanted to have sex more, and, all that kind of stuff. So I think that as, hey, there's a husband walking through the back there, that's probably going to get real uncomfortable for him. So I saw another one. Colleen's husband came in and got her kid. Starting off them young with sex ed. So, I think that there is a lot of shame, a lot of disgrace, a lot of just bad emotions that come up when people feel that they're in an unhealthy place with sex, sexuality, and pleasure. And so what we want to do is get people into a healthy place there, because I heard an amazing thing said one time that I thought was so apropos, that when sex and sexuality and intimacy are strong within a relationship, it makes up about 5% of the relationship. But if it's a problem, it affects about 95% of the relationship. So making sure that we are healthy sexually, and that we all feel like we're in a healthy place with our partner is so important, because then it occupies so little of our attention and our energy. But when we get in an unhealthy balance, it begins to roll over and affect so much more. So, are there any other questions before we say good night to everyone for the night? And I will be posting this recording on our page, so you can go back and look. And I probably will also post the link to that, to the PowerPoint, so you can get those recipes and look at them, and I'll have all that too. So any other questions? Oh, Deb, any considerations for those women who have issues with UTIs associated with sexual activity? I'm thinking adding Melaleuca. What about other oils? So yes, so I think that probably is a really good point. Other tips, making sure that after intercourse you're urinating. I mean, those are the easy answers. But I think that when you're talking about oils and adding something in, if you are in a position where you can use that lubrication, I think that lubricant would be really good, because you are going to have less of that chance of bacteria being pushed up into the urethra when you are having sexual intimacy, if you're using something that's going to really help to not get bacteria out of control, for lack of a better term. So I think that would be great. That lubricant would be great for someone who has issues with UTIs, for sure.
It's me again.
Yeah.
Those we're talking about the UTI and lubricants. Coconut oil is a great lubricant, and it also fights candida.
Yeah.
And if you happen to add a sprinkle of water to it, you're really going to town.
Woo! Man, she's got some great tips. So yeah, if you do the fractionated coconut oil plus the Melaleuca and a sprinkle of water to it, apparently, then that would be great. That would be a great lubricant to use in order to help with the UTIs. Great point. Yes. Any other questions or comments? Well, I like to always make sure, I'll kind of wrap up. If you have more questions, just pop on. But as I'm wrapping up, I like to remind everybody of our next month. Our next month is they're always on the first Thursday of the month. Is that right? Linda, is the first Thursday? Give me a nod there. Is that right? Yes. First Thursday of the month at 8:00 Eastern Standard Time. This same Zoom is what you're always going to hop on. And if I am correct and remembering correct, next month is going to be on cleaning. Is that correct, Linda? We're doing cleaning next month? I'm assuming that you're sitting over there on your calendar, and maybe you're not. Yes. She is. Let me unmute her so she can, she's the only reason I'm asking Linda. There may be people on here who know other than Linda, but she's the only one I see in my screen. So let me unmute Linda and unmute girl. Why isn't it working? Unmute.
I got it. I got it.
Okay.
Okay. I believe that we changed the first Thursday rule because the first Thursday happens to be the 1st of March.
Okay.
So I have the note, and I'm not sure that I am correct, but I believe it's the 8th.
Okay.
And
8th of March. Okay,
yes, the 8th of March.
great. And what do you have on there? Who's going to be teaching our cleaning class?
I am not certain. I think, wait a minute. I thought that the cleaning
Yes.
was going to be me, but I thought it was April.
Oh.
So
well,
I
we're
am
just not giving y'all any good information
Yeah,
tonight.
Yes, a spring
Hey,
cleaning
Tracy.
is going to be April the 12th. I actually have written down that is seasonal.
Seasonal.
Seasonal support is March 8th.
Okay. Yes. Who? It says Aaron's
It's
iPad.
Allison. What's Allison?
Hi,
Yeah. And I have that we're doing it the second Thursday of every month. Is that
Second Thursday. See, I
Okay,
was wrong. Sorry, guys. I hope nobody hopped off in that 30-second period between when I said the wrong
So
time.
was I.
The second Thursday of every month, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which would be March 8th, and it is on seasonal. And I feel like Kara Anderson may be teaching it, but I could be wrong about that. And Kara, don't freak out if you're not the one who's teaching it. We have it all written down. But anyway, it's going to be awesome. You guys are going to learn about seasonal issues. We're going to be coming up on the spring. It's going to be an awesome time for you to learn more about using your oils to deal with all kinds of allergens and issues and irritations and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a very comprehensive and awesome class. So I'm so glad all of you hopped on for this. I appreciate you putting up with my wrong day of the month. And hopefully you guys will all join us next month. And if you have any other questions for me or you need anything else from this particular class tonight that you felt uncomfortable asking on, you can always ask me that privately. So hope you guys have an awesome night. And we will see you back here, same bat time, same bat channel on March 8th. So